Hey y'all, this is Destiny checking in with today's Daily Diamond. Hey family, as always, I would like to say welcome to anybody who is new and checking out my podcast. I thank you for the support. As of, I believe yesterday, we crossed the 4.4K downloads mark. And so that means that it's time to gear up for another giveaway. We will be doing a 5K giveaway in which I will be deciding what the prizes are going to be. Comment on my Instagram, guys, if you can come up with some prizes. As always, you know that I have to thank my sponsors before I do anything else. So up first, we have the only hair that I wear, the Royal Crown Extensions. Make sure you check out Sade for your lashes, your bonnets, your bundles, your wigs, your closures. Make sure you check her out. She is a one-stop shop. Then, of course, we have our up-and-coming braider, Lisha. Make sure you check her out for your ponytails, your braids, your buns, your curls, and let her know that Destiny sent you. And last but not least, we have, not last but not least, but we have the Kisses by Chelly, the only lip gloss that I wear. Make sure you check out Kisses by Chelly. As soon as Kisses by Chelly is done with her lip gloss load that she currently has, I believe she is moving into clothing and other merchandise. So make sure you guys check out Chelly. She also sells lashes, so make sure you check out her mink lashes as well. And last but not least, finally, we have my best friend Tiana Nate. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, and comment on her YouTube videos and her YouTube channel. She has been a little bit under the weather, so I am sure she will be announcing her $50 giveaway winner here soon. So make sure you guys are tuned in to that so you can get yourselves in the running. I'm sure she'll be doing another giveaway as well. Now, on to today's topic. So it's been a minute since I've talked to you guys, and I've made a couple adjustments. So before I jump right into this topic, let me let you know what's going on with the Diamond brand. So my goal for the 2019 year is to scale back on the episodes. So I'm going to stop doing the 4 to 5 episodes a week, and I'm going to scale back to 2. But in the scaling back to 2, I'm going to try to lengthen the episodes so that they're a little bit longer. And I want to scale back to 2, but I really want to take some time to kind of grow and learn about myself as a podcaster. And so the episodes are going to get a little bit longer. I'm going to try to keep them in the 20-minute range because I feel like you need a podcast that lasts about a car ride, and anything longer than that can be a little bit too much. And that's just from my personal experience. But I'm really going to try to actively begin engaging with you guys on Instagram, on Facebook, on my Twitter, so on and so forth. And I'm really going to plan and save to get some Diamond Doll merchandise off the floor. So let me guys know what you want. I think I'm going to start with wristbands, and then I might move into something else. But I really want to get some diamond merchandise off of the ground. And I'm also probably, let me know what you guys think. I'm thinking of discontinuing the WordPress, so the online version of the podcast, and just turning it strictly into a file that is downloadable via YouTube and or Apple Podcasts and or on Google Play. But letting go of the WordPress. And I'm also looking to start my team over, but I'm looking to start my team over in a very different way. And so Pink Kisses and I, aka Zaria, are working on some things, and we've got a touch base, and I really want to get this thing off the ground. And last but not least, I'm hoping to host a vision board party. I think that's what I might be doing for my birthday. I think I'm going to host a vision board party and allow the Diamond brand to kind of be it, and then allow us to kind of have a conversation while we do our vision boards and so on and so forth under the Diamond brand. So bear with me as my brand changes and moves and ebbs and flows. And while I do everything else that I have to do as a mother and a wife and an educator and a friend and everything else that I have to do. And so, I think I'm going to cover a couple of things today in today's episode. So bear with me for this mishmash of topics. So it was requested by someone that I kind of revisit this letting go podcast. So I had done the letting go podcast before, but it was suggested to me that it was kind of brought back. And so I'm going to bring that back, but I'm going to bring it back with a different spin. So when I talked about letting go in the first time, and if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while ago. When we talk about letting go, you literally have to put yourself in a predicament and in a space and in a place to let go of those things that are not healthy for you. You have to let go of those friendships, those relationships, those foods, those people, social media, your phone, your friends, your wardrobe. You literally have to put yourself in a place to let go of those things that are not good for you. And so I believe that letting go is very, very therapeutic. And I believe that it's a really, really good thing to do quite often. I think it's really good to take inventory of self and decide what things you need and what things you don't need, be it figuratively or literally, so that you can be a better version of yourself at all times. I know that when we live this life that we live and do the things that we do, we are shrouded with so many things that we are required to do. And we have to interact with other people. We have to interact with family, our mates, whatever the case may be. And so letting go can be a really hard thing to do. But letting go is a necessary evil. It is something that is a necessary requirement in all that we do. And so when you let go, decide what it is that you want to let go. I'm a big believer in fast, right? You might need to fast from social media. You might need to fast from your phone. You might need to fast from a person. Like, do whatever you got to do to put yourself in a better place. One thing that I decided to do kind of on purpose, but not on purpose, was see if I could get my screen time down. You know, iPhone now has this thing where they let you know how much screen time you have per week. And so one thing that I decided to do was that I was going to get my screen time down every week. And so every week I've been actively working to spend less time on my phone and more time doing other things and being present with other things. And so today is Sunday. And when I got this here notification this morning that my screen time was down 35%, I celebrated. I was so very happy, so very elated to see that my screen time had indeed dropped, right? And it was like an average of 5 hours. And I felt like that was too much. I literally want to give myself like 30 minutes a day, which will give me maybe 3 hours a week, give or take, depending upon what kind of week I'm having. But I really wanted to put myself in a predicament where I had about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours of screen time a week and nothing more, right? And so a lot of my time on social media is spent strolling through other people's paragraphs and strolling through other people's problems and strolling through other people's pictures and whatever else they've got going on. But if I was to take some of that time and begin to build my brand and begin to create, right, and line myself up so that I could purchase things for the podcast or do things for the podcast, I could think about how much more lucrative I could be, right? If I took some of that time, I took an hour of that time, and instead of being on my phone for that hour, I did something for work, or I did something for the podcast, or I did something for myself, how much of a better place and better predicament would I be in, right? And by letting go of my phone and letting go of some of that time on social media, I had a lot of time to reflect. Right? Social media puts you in a place in which you wind up comparing yourself to others. You wind up comparing yourself to your neighbor, your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues. You wind up comparing yourself to people in an unnecessary way, right? People put the best version of themselves or the best version that they have to offer of themselves on social media. And that version of themselves is not always true. And when you see that untrue version of someone, you wind up comparing yourself, and then you put yourself in a predicament or in a situation in which you think you're not good enough, right? You think that you are not good enough in the way in which you were created or the way in which God intended you to be, because you've been comparing. You have to find a way to... You find yourself, and I apologize for the interruptions. I am a mother, so I've got 2 toddlers. You find yourself in a place or in a situation in which, right, you realize you're not good enough. How about we start letting that negativity go? How about we start letting that preconceived notion of ourselves go? How about we stop putting ourselves in places in which we are a person to be compared to? Our body is a thing to be compared to. Our heart, our spirit, our work ethic is a thing to be compared to. How about we put ourselves in a situation and in a predicament in which we are no longer comparable? I am who I am, and I am perfect. I am who I am, and I am who God intended me to be. I am who Allah intended me to be. And so I'm not to be compared to. I'm not comparable. I'm not even someone who requires comparison. I don't even understand why we got into this place as a society, or why we got into this place as a group of people, but it's not necessarily who we need to be. You don't necessarily need to be someone who has to compare yourself. And so when we decide that we are not comparable, we're not a person or an item that is up for comparison, right? Then we begin to let go. We begin to let go of all of those labels and all of those things that keep us confined, or that keep us from growing, or keep us from learning, right? I am not necessarily a huge positive affirmations person, but in this concept, or in this time, or in this space of letting go, right? Maybe you need to add some positive affirmations to whatever you do. Maybe you need to look at the relationships or the conversations that you're having with people and decide how you can let go. You don't have to be everyone's cup of tea. And that is something that as I've gotten older, I've realized. I'm cool with letting people go. I'm cool with letting friendships go because I'm not necessarily everybody's cup of tea. And I'm okay with that. If I am not your cup of tea, then it is best that we are not even, interacting. That's just best. Because I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to usurp what I think or move myself around to accommodate you. I am going to be who I am, and either you like it, love it, or hate it. And even if you disagree with some of the things that I do, but we are cool, like that's one thing, and I can work with that. But if I'm just not your cup of tea, then let go. And so if you're out there and you're listening and you're really, really wondering how do I do better? How do I put myself in a predicament to let go of things, right? I don't know, every new year people got all these resolutions and they want to let go of something. Think about how you can put yourself in a predicament that makes you better. How can you put yourself in a predicament in which you're not comparable? You're not something to be bought. You're not something that needs to change or move for other people, right? Change is great and change is good, but you don't have to do it for anyone other than yourself. And so when you choose to let go, look at all those different aspects of your life, right? Human beings are multifaceted individuals, and we have a million ways in which we could grow and a million ways in which we could change. And in all of that, we might have to let go of something or someone or some place or some job. We might even have to let go of finances. And I think that's even funny. And so letting go of finances, it reminds me of a job that I had at one particular time. I was in a particular school, and it had to be one of the most stressful work environments I think I had ever encountered in my life. And I literally walked away from way more money because I was in search for peace, right? I was in search of peace. I was in search of happiness. And so in that search of trying to find something that was better, I let this job go, or I let this thing go. And I literally walked away from this job. Like, I literally walked away from money, and I walked away from financial stability, even to a certain extent, because I was more interested in having peace. And so that was an instance in my life in which I chose to let go. And I know that people are listening and you're thinking, okay, but I'm going through something, and how do I let go? You literally just have to decide that you can let it go. You literally just have to decide that I don't want this thing anymore. Some people live and thrive off of negativity and chaos and arguing and cussing and fussing, and that is how they function. You don't have to necessarily function like they function. You don't necessarily have to move the way in which they move, because the way in which they move is not necessarily what's best for you, and the way in which they move might be too tumultuous for you, right? The way in which people choose to let go and to ebb and flow and change, like, that is an individual task. That thing is individual. And so whatever you do, make it individual. And whatever you do what you have to do for you. Stop thinking that you have to be defined by someone or something or some relationship. And for those of you who are young and you are listening, I'm going to say this to you because I say it to you guys all the time, especially those of you who are my actual students. Stop forcing yourself into these relationships at a young age and then trying to deal with adult problems that you have no answer to. Right? My mama used to always say, don't hurry up. Don't be in a rush to grow up. And everybody nowadays, I guess because you're young, everybody's in a rush to grow up, and everybody is in a rush to be in a relationship. But you're way too young to have the tools to know how to do it. And so then you put yourself in a predicament where you got to let go of some hurt and some pain or something that you didn't even need in the first doggone place. You didn't even need that responsibility. You didn't even need that requirement. You didn't need that emotional baggage that came with that thing that you were so infatuated with and you were so in love with and you felt like you needed so bad. When you are young, fall in love with yourself first. Fall in love with yourself. Get to know who you are, because who you are right now at 15 or 17 or 20 is not going to be who you are at 25 and 30 and 35 and 40 and 60, right? Fall in love with who you are. Know who you are before you jump into a relationship, so you don't have to be defined by someone else. It's okay to learn and grow and take something from someone along the way, but you don't have to necessarily be defined by someone else. So if you make this kind of move when you're early on in your life, then you don't have to get into a place where you got to try to let go of all this emotional, unnecessary baggage that you shouldn't have had in the first place, because you should have never even been in that relationship to begin with. You should have never even got yourself in that predicament or in that situation in the first doggone place. So stop putting yourself in that place. If you're young and you're listening, stop putting yourself in a predicament where you have to let go. And just let go of things that you don't need. That's okay. If it's really, really worth it, like they say, it'll come back to you. But I guarantee you, a lot of that baggage that you're walking around and that you're carrying, it isn't even worth it. So you might as well just let that thing go now so that you can move on and move forward. And like I always say, focus on you and focus on yourself. And today, focus on letting go. And because it's Sunday and I'm recording at home, I'm going to put this episode out there. But I have to apologize for the background noise and apologize for the children and apologize for whatever else you might have heard in the background. Because in all things that I do, I'm a mother, a wife, a podcaster, a teacher, a friend, a auntie, a sister. Like, I'm everything to everybody in every which way. And so sometimes when I record at home, I wind up with all this noise in the background. So I apologize. But today, when you focus on yourself and you think about yourself, think about how you could let go. And this is Destiny signing out with today's Daily Diamond. I might see you guys tomorrow.